two things, God and the Cats.
It's that time of year, folks. It is officially crossover season. Sam Houston hoops, Bearkat hoops, as a matter of fact, got going this past Monday. Also, football falls to 0-8, and much more around Sam Houston Athletics has commenced. Hello, everyone. This is Sam Houston Sports Talk. Colin Neal, and of course, to my side is Luke Scott. If you haven't already, be sure you subscribe today to Sam Houston Sports Talk. Follow us on all of our social media outlets, especially with the audio form podcast available on Spotify. Whatever you do to support Sam Houston Sports Talk, we appreciate it either way. Luke, I want to just go ahead and just jump right into it. Football. Go ahead and give me your thoughts, man. Just what are you thinking? How do you feel? Just a bad loss overall against Louisiana Tech, win a game that you probably weren't expected to win because of the optics surrounding that game, and just the fact that La Tech is just pretty good. But I'm not gonna lie, personally for me, I'm pretty disappointed with the result either way.
Yeah, I didn't think. I kind of thought going into the game that Sam Houston was a little, not necessarily undervalued, but I thought it wasn't like the worst spot for us to maybe show some fight, maybe try to squeak one out, and it just didn't happen. It was evident pretty quickly of kind of how the game was going to go, and it was largely on the ground with La Tech. You know, a couple of big time, like huge long running plays, but just couldn't really get anything going, or couldn't really stop them at all from the momentum. La Tech's quarterback Blake Baker, he looked pretty good, and he was just kind of doing his thing and not necessarily pushing the ball way down the field 60, 70 yards, but just kind of doing his job and taking what the defense gave him. And, and that pretty quickly, gave way to a quick 27-0 lead, at halftime. And so, the offense didn't do the defense any favors by staying on the field at all. Yeah, just disappointing. I thought Hunter Watson played okay, not good, but he did play like awful. But I mean, outside of one long run there from Elijah Green,
A couple of them.
Sam Houston's offense, yeah, I mean, just not really anything there, which has kind of been the story all year. And Coach Longo has kind of talked about finding rewarding guys who play and practice and who are performing throughout that week. Maybe players just aren't performing and we're just throwing guys out there. I don't know. It just hasn't been what we thought the season could be, and it was the same story, same movie that you watch every week, and it's continued to stay the same.
So Friday night, I said that I said that I wasn't going to hold back, and I do have to apologize. I let the emotions get the best of me in that situation. It's just kind of frustrating, personally for me, from an alum and fan perspective, and I want to try to always balance how I cover this team from a professional standpoint, being someone as member of the media, and also being at the same time being, like I said, an alum and a fan. Um, One thing you're not going to get from me, Luke, is bashing of anybody's personal character. There's people out there, Luke, that need to do a better job of separating Longo from the person and the football coach. And if you're looking for any bashing of Longo on that side of things, this is not the place you're going to get. This is not the place for any bashing of anyone's personal character. But I'm going to say this, Luke. I don't know why you say that you're masters of the bye week, but then you come out sluggish in the third bye week. After the first bye week, which you went up against Texas, I understand that one. Mexico State, the bye week before. Okay, you had to travel. You actually were in the game until late, and when certain things happened that shouldn't have happened, like the ball getting turned over and all that. But man, Luke, third time's a charm, they always say, and you just look bad against La Tech, like just bad. La Tech's a good team, but you just look bad, and I just wonder what in the world is going on during these practices and bye weeks. I mean, I've been out there only a handful of times, so I can't personally judge. But man, Luke, with how bad the tackling was. I mean, I personally can't come around and watch the full game because I feel like I already know from the few highlights I watched, Luke, the tackling just remains horrible. And the offense is still having trouble executing in critical down situations. And yeah, maybe Luke, they're winning on that first down, but then afterwards, it feels like winning on that money down doesn't mean a lick. So whether it is a talent, I mean, whether it is a talent issue or not, whether it's a coaching issue or not, overall, at the end of the day, from a lot of people's perspective, the blame goes right to the head coach, and and Longo has not been shy in taking blame fault for it. So overall, I'm very frustrated, especially since this is the second 0-8 start in 3 seasons for this program, which is also since they moved up to the FBS level, and and there's a lot of excuses that we can give this program, Luke. Just not having money, not having to play home games, and a lot of other issues, and a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes and whatsoever. And granted, Longo hasn't exactly done himself any favors in that sort of situation, and maybe it's just all
No,
part of the process. And I hope it's a part of the process that, like, hey, it's bad right now, but hey, it's gonna get better. And hopefully it is. And it's just unfortunately I'm impatient in that kind of fast. Like I kind of already want next year to be here already because I'm kind of anticipating that they're gonna have a better off season than had last go around, which that off season was difficult in its own right for many, many reasons. And we've talked about that already plenty of times. But right now, it's just very frustrating. And I also apologize on the front that I was too optimistic to begin this season. I predicted a 6-6 record. And folks, I apologize. I was wrong. I shouldn't have been that optimistic. I mean, I like to be an optimistic person, but I underestimated how difficult this season was going to be. So I think we all got our hopes up a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just want to go ahead and get to next week, this upcoming game rather already. Yeah, Oregon State Saturday night on the CW. So, but we're gonna get to that Oregon State matchup in the next pod. But Luke, I was just wondering what you thought about what I just said.
yeah, no. I mean, I think you're right. And to kind of go back to the game just a little bit, Colin, and it's been kind of the story all year. 1 for 6 on fourth down, 4 for 15 on third down,
Yep.
and 0 for 3 in the red zone.
Yep.
Scored a chances. Went 0 for 3 when you got to the red zone. That's kind of been the story all year. Not many red zone chances to begin with, and when you get down there, if you're not gonna get down there often, you got to be efficient, and we just haven't been. And it's well documented that this team has been, one of the worst in the country on third down, and obviously fourth down hasn't been much better to us. Now, part of that is situational stuff, and when you're playing from behind, you're going to go for it more. But I mean, the third down, being on third down, just has been killer for us all year. And I don't know if it's part of it. Maybe is just the lack of a balanced attack. Maybe I mean some games you're able to run the ball okay, but you can't throw the ball. In some games, you just can't. You can't buy a run for more than 5 yards. And if you look on the opposite side, 3 for 3 in the red zone and 4 for 5 on third down for La Tech. So just not good, not good at all. Um, but kind of going now, kind of like transitioning back to what you were saying, and I don't want to be that guy, Colin, but if we don't win a game this year, I know that this is not going to happen, and I know Bobby Williams is a patient person, but someone's got to go. Someone's got to go. I don't care if it's staff. I don't care if it's Coach Longo. Could be Bobby Williams at the end of the day. I mean, this this can't continue at all. And I know there's a ton of circumstances kind of going into the season, and we can talk about and we have talked about not having home games and stadium under construction and this tough schedule, always kind of going on the road, never being able to really generate any momentum because half the time you're traveling out to who knows where, and your home games are an hour and a half away, and no one shows up. But you got to give people a reason to show up. You can't just say, "Hey, we need, please come."
Yeah.
When you're 0-8, people aren't going to show up, and that's kind of been the story all year. It's kind of been the story for a couple years now with attendance across Bearcat athletics. I just don't think this administration, you know, Bobby, the president, I don't think there's been enough that's gone on to really confront that situation. And here we are with an 0-8 football team that's struggling to do anything, get stops, move the ball, score, keep players on the roster. It's quite embarrassing. And yeah, and we're always going to ride for the Cats and cover the Cats. We love the school. We love uh, of what Sam Houston has done for us too, just personally, but also, we love sports, and we're always going to cover them and root for them. But it's really hard, when you're looking at a team, and when I go to the office calling, everyone says, "Oh, Luke, sorry about Sam." It's like, "Yep, I
Yeah.
know." They'll say sorry before the game even starts.
Same here,
Colin, I mean,
man.
it's that bad. And yeah, you live it. Calling, working in sports radio and working at the station, you can't escape it. At least the insurance companies usually don't talk about it, but it has happened before. Um, the it is tough. I agree with you 100%, and I know the burners and the online social media, they are brutal when you're riding high, they are the best. And
Yeah.
when you're down in the valley, they will kick you when you're down and they will bury you. And I think Longo is kind of feeling it right now in that way. I know he says he doesn't have time to look on social media and do whatever. I don't care. Dude, you are in 2025 going into 2026. You know what's talking about what's going on social media. And it's just embarrassing. Um, I applaud Hunter Watson for last year. We know what the team was made of last year, and it was largely predicated on our defense. And I think you're kind of seeing a lot that's being exposed this year. And I think the biggest takeaway in all of this is, you go and see what's going on in Temple, and you see what's going on in Sam Houston, and you can pretty much understand of what's happened and transition between the two programs. So that was kind of long winded, but um, I think it was needed to be said.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can hear this at first.
The tough part
Go
The
ahead.
tough part is, if you're making changes, Colin, the quarter or the coaching market right now is a little bit saturated because or unsaturated because there's a lot of coaches being fired around the country, and the candidates are not jumping off the page for the amount of firings that's kind of happened. So I'm not calling for the Longo job just yet, but he's the hot seat has been he's on the hot seat.
Well, let me ask you this then, real quick. Would it look bad on Sam Houston firing a head coach with all these circumstances going on?
Calling out if you're
In
0
their
and 8,
in their in their first year.
if you go a whole season, you don't win a game in your entire season. I don't Colin, I don't care who you are. You got to win at least something. You got to win a game. I mean, and there are plenty of coaches, some of the great coaches that have had bad years to start and they build up, but none of them are winless in those bad years. They're just not. They'll find a way to get 3 games. And I think great coaches can find games, find ways to win in games that they're not supposed to. And I know there's been a couple that have been a little close, but honestly, the leash has to be short. I mean, it just does. And when you have a coordinator, I know that UNT's strength of their team is not their defense, that just walked out, and now he's coordinating out there at UNT, and they are, I think, 7 or 8-1 or whatever they are, just beat Navy, beat the brakes off of the Navy. You got to respect that, and you got to say we just let that walk out of the door
Can I
for
can I be 100 with you on something real quick regarding that?
yeah.
He probably would have left regardless if Keeler was still here or not. I mean, UNT is a far more attractive job than Sam Houston.
Could be a head coach here.
Could be, but then the experience stuff lies because I mean, and plus, would he be a would I mean, come on.
It's not like Coach Longo has a ton of experience being a head coach.
Yeah, but to say the least, though, you did this Skyler did Cassidy really want to though? Does he really want to?
And you know what? He might not. We get that, but it is a tough look. Um, it's a tough look. And Ryan Carty, for example, too, right? In Delaware, and I know that whole situation kind of, everyone knows that as soon as Sam lost to Montana State, that office was emptied completely. He was gone, and he was out the door to Delaware. But now he's in the conference. I mean, there's guys that have been in this program that are so many different spots and seem to be succeeding. And here we are with Phil Longo, and it's tough. It's hard to be this judgmental because it's only his first year, and you know th- he'll be here next year. Like I know he will be, but I'm looking at Bobby at this and saying, dude, this is inexcusable. I mean, obviously last year was last year, but you had a real opportunity to build momentum off of the New Orleans Bowl. Um, you just had probably the greatest run in your program history uh, from 2000, you know, 18, 19 to 2024. And you have a chance to build momentum going into the FBS after this bowl win, and you've laid a stinker. I mean,
Yeah, but here's my point though. I just feel like I still feel like we just ginormously underestimated. I mean, okay, let me ask you here, Luke. Okay, just bear with me. Okay, you are a player that just entered the portal. You're a really good player. We know you are. You know you are a good player. But you maybe want to go to you still want to stick around for the G5 ranks because you probably know like even if you go power, you're probably not going to play. You want to play though. Like this guy could be, or in all intents and purposes, this guy's gonna be a great fit, offensively, defensively, whatever.
yeah,
Listen here, kid. We want you here at Sam Houston. We want you to get an education. We're gonna give you full ride and all that. You could legitimately start for us. And which, by the way, that's like kind of the thing about recruiting is that it's recruiting at the end of the day. This guy may not start at the end of the day. But anyway, just bear with me for this. You can start here for us, man. Now, coach, but you're not going to be playing any home games, and I hear that you don't have money because of the press box that's being built. Well, yeah, you're right. Luke, was Sam Houston exactly an attractive place to drive in high sought out recruits and transfers, especially transfer recruits rather, I should say, that could have been an extremely great fit. Maybe they could have been difference makers. I mean, that's why I kind of look at this offseason as just kind of like a nice fresh start for Longo. And I don't know. I don't know. I saw some people kind of argue about how badly they did in the portal this past time, but I just can't find ways to blame them. And again, it's just getting over 30 guys out from after spring is just that's just really difficult to manage.
It is. It is, and it's tough when you have so much turnover from top to bottom. Um, but still, winless is winless. There's not really an excuse for that.
Yeah.
And being a team in Texas, Colin, you are 3 hours from DFW, and you are 2 hours from the entire Houston metro or the entire Houston area. If you can't find how many players you need for that recruiting cycle in that area consistently, and you can't win a game in the season, I'm looking at the recruiting director, I'm looking at scouts, I'm looking at assistant coaches, whoever is out there, stuff's got to change. And I know it's not even like this roster is super young. I mean, there's a ton of transfers everywhere, and they still suck. I mean, to be honest, right? Um, the guys that we brought in from different conferences, like Antavius Fish, was said to be this a great leader. Colin, it's been very subpar. I mean, very lackluster. The bright spots. I mean, how many different bright spots can you name on both sides of the ball from young guys saying, "Ooh, he might be a guy." I mean, Coco Brown, I think, has been kind of one on offense, and it's really it. I think on that side of the ball,
I think a lot of the
and
guys that could showcase some pretty good, talent are getting redshirted this year.
maybe so, yeah. But
I don't know.
it's
There's just a lot
I don't
to
know.
it. There's a lot to it. There's just so
It
much.
is, and Bobby Williams needs to explain for this because this is just. I mean, it's unbearable to watch, Colin. I mean, I'm watching every game, and I'm thinking we have no shot.
Well, I was gonna get into audio regarding to Louisiana Tech, but I'm gonna save actually some of these Longo audio for later because we've talked so much about it. But I kind of want to play this clip that was 4 minutes long. And Luke, I know, I'm pretty sure you've seen it already. But for those that have not seen it, and I include the question in there just for the sake for context
Yep.
purposes, I asked head coach Phil Longo during today's presser Tuesday morning at the time of it happening. I asked him basically fans and supporters are getting rightfully frustrated. What would be your message to them? And this is included with the question, so you'll understand the full question. And this is his full response.
Yeah, coach, this program has now endured a 0-8 record for two of the last three seasons, and fans and supporters have rightfully gotten frustrated. I was just wondering what would be your message to them as there's not only these last four games to go, but also an off season to look forward to.
That's a great question. Here's what I would tell you. I would tell you the same thing I tell the fans, that I tell our players, that I tell our boosters and our staff talks about, and that's one, we have great confidence in the plan here and great confidence in the process. And I think, I say sometimes you can't let, in this sport, you can't let one game affect the next. You can't let one loss affect the next. And it's a matter of regrouping, refocusing, and putting everything you have into the next game. And we're going to do that for the next 4 weeks. Because that's what's left on the season, and we're focused on the last third of the season, but we're focused on Oregon State, which is the only thing that matters right now, and then we'll lock in on Delaware and so on. But I would tell all of you same thing that our players would tell you, and that is we believe in the plan, we're sticking with the plan. This is not my first rodeo. I've been through rebuilding a program before. Mac Brown took over North Carolina. They had won 5 games in 2 years. And the morale, the momentum, the confidence in the program, just the desire to even be in the football building was extremely low and negative. And it just took a little bit of time, and that's the only thing I can tell you is to hang tight and be patient. I know it's hard. You know, I would say this: it's no easier for the coaches. It's no easier for the players. We don't want to be in this situation any more than people want to see us in this situation. But I think we know what we're capable of. We know where we're going. We know the things behind the scenes that are getting better. And we're going to look back at this season at some point, just like they did in the past, because I would point out after the last time they had a struggling season, they went 10-3 and won the New Orleans Bowl. And I think the future for us is going to be just fine. I'm as impatient as anybody you'll ever meet. I want everything to happen yesterday. I want the player development to happen yesterday. I want the mistakes to get cleaned up yesterday. I want better offensive production. I want a more physical, better tackling defense right now. We want to move on from being competent special teams to a special teams that can give us an opportunity to turn the tide, win field position, and help us win a ball game. You know, I want our staff to continue to improve what they all need to improve on. I need to continue to improve on what I've got to improve on. And we're all working on it. And I think as soon as you take the blinders off and you let the noise, the outside noise, which every coach in America talks to their team about, you distract from the process. And it's not productive. And for the staff, it's pretty easy for us because we just put the blinders on the next day, lock in, and we go to work. And for 8 weeks now, we've had a team that has followed suit. They followed their coaches, and they're doing the same thing. Is there frustration? 100%. If there wasn't, I'd be concerned. If people could relax and handle the type of season we're having, I would be concerned. You know, when there's frustration because they're not playing up to how well they know they can play, either from an individual or a position room or a team standpoint, well, we should be frustrated. You know, then we've got to turn that frustration into positive energy the next day, and there's no way to get better tomorrow until you race yesterday and you move on. And that's going to be the way we handle this. And then it won't be too long from now, Colin, where we're talking about some different things, and this is going to be old news. In the meantime, our noses to the grindstone, and we're going to hammer out the best game plan we can for the next game, which is Saturday.
It was not exactly a short response, to say the least. It was very drawn out. It was thought out. I personally think he answered it how he should have, and I didn't think it was actually a bad answer. I thought it was a really good answer, and he stuck to his guns, Luke. He stuck to his guns, which I respect.
He definitely did, and it sounds great. And look, as a Bearkat fan, as an alum, I'm gonna support the team. I'm not gonna bail, of course, and we love covering this team, and we won't stop. But stylistically, why it just doesn't feel like the personnel in the most important positions fits of what Longo wants to do. Plain and simple. This team doesn't look. I mean, Longo wants to go quick and spread the ball around and really implement his air raid, right? That's not Watson's game at all. It's probably it's probably the exact opposite. Defensively, I mean, busted coverages, guys just getting lost
Not tackling.
at this point. And you talked about it, Colin, the bye weeks, right? You have all these bye weeks in the year, and you say, "Oh, well, we're the kings of the bye week now," and it's stinker after stinker after stinker after the bye week. Well, maybe what's being implemented just is not. It's not working. It's like the Cowboys, Colin. You can do the same things, and you can implement and do different things, and guys are still wide open. Guys are still not able to make the plays that they need to. And so, is it coaching? Maybe a little bit of it. Is it personnel? Maybe a little bit of it. But it's just been a bad year. And hopefully the team can just kind of wipe the slate clean and turn the blind eye and say, okay, we're just next week. now and go from there. But from what I've seen calling for this team, it's hard for me to believe much.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have. I mean, they have Oregon State this Saturday. Like I said, 9 p.m. Central Time on the CW. Luke, they opened up as 17 and a half.
Which might be the most winnable game we've had in a while now.
Luke, they opened up as 17.5 point underdogs, and it's now gone up to 19.5. Wonder what the.
Maybe not.
Like, I mean, I think personally, I think the bookies are kind of overestimating a little bit. I mean, I get that Sam's bad right now, and heck, we may not have Watson, actually, because he actually went.
It wouldn't matter.
He now this is something I kind of want to get into real quickly though, because this was because Watson exited the game with a knee injury, and this is what Longo said.
So with regards to Hunter, it was a knee. MRI came back negative. There's no issue. It's stable, and so he has a pre-existing injury there, and so they're kind of referring to some scar tissue, which was causing the pain on game day, and so he's day to day right now. We're just waiting to see how his knee responds. I don't think we're overly concerned, but I don't know any more about his status right now other than it's a day-to-day deal to see how his knee feels from a pain standpoint.
And this is the knee, and with him saying that, I believe this is the same knee that Watson has had issues with in the past because he had a knee scope in the spring before last year. And then he turns around, Luke, and then he says this almost immediately after. I want you and those that are listening, watching, pay attention closely.
And then with regards to Mabry, he has played some, hasn't played a lot. He's had some good drives and some not so good drives. And then we've had some drives end because of some other things. He's laid a couple third down throws in there that should have been able to convert, and we weren't able to hold on to them. But the game is slowing down for him a little bit because of the knowledge base. He's been in this system for 2 years, and so this will be an opportunity for him, to try to get started earlier because he's going to play earlier, obviously, and get himself into a rhythm. And we'll play to Mabry's strengths, which are going to be a little bit different than Hunter's. And again, for him, it'll come down to good decision making.
Mabry Matoyer starter for Saturday night against Oregon State. That's kind of what Longo was kind of hinting there, Luke, and maybe that he didn't actually mean to say. He probably showed his cards a little too early in the poker game known as gamesmanship. But yeah, it's interesting. Personally, I'm on board with, hey, listen, this is where you want to show what your future is. What you got looking towards to, Luke. And to me right now, the future is and I don't mean this in spite of Mabry, Luke, but the future right now to me is Landon Locke. And I think you still have 2 more games to burn with him before you can redshirt him. And I personally think that if Watson is not ready to go, don't risk it. Don't risk the knee injury. Just don't. It's okay. We don't need to do that. Personally, for me, Luke, if there's a guy I'm looking to start, to me, it's not Mabry, it's Landon.
I completely agree. 100%. I wouldn't even touch Mabry because what we've seen out of him, his inability to really move.
Yeah.
Outside the pocket. I think his throw, his accuracy hasn't been great. I would say at all. Some really, really bad looking moments. I'm talking about the pick sixes. I would look at Locke and I'd look at Bailey. Give those 2 guys the shot, and just for someone different. And I don't care if it's any better, if it's worse. Because really, it can't get worse. You're 0-8, and look, Hunter Watson was great last year, and we know the reason why they won those games was because of that defense. Because there were times where Hunter Watson was straight up bad.
Yeah.
And the defense got us through those games. And this year, he doesn't have you know, 6 D1 guys, or I'm sorry, power 4 guys, or whatever you want to call it, higher level guys to rely on, um, on that side of the ball. All Americans for some. You don't have any of those guys, Colin. And weapons wise, running backs, receivers, outside of maybe a couple backs, no receiver that you have has impressed you in any way. No one creates separation. And when they do, they drop it, or it's a bad throw. The ball's it's a one hop or two of them. So honestly, I'd put Mabry in the toolbox. Don't touch him and go with Locke or go with Bailey and just see what happens. If you catch fire with something, great. If not, oh well, you still haven't won a game. You haven't won a game before that, so you're not really. I don't know, like Hail Mary, I guess. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. There was talk with Mabry coming in, and obviously, I thought, okay, like this is Longo's guy. He's probably going to start him, and he didn't, and we know why. Colin, he's just not very good, and
Yeah. I mean, we talked off air a couple times, Luke. I've kind of talked. We've kind of talked, and I'm like, yeah, it's. I personally think that Lane is probably more the ace in the hole right now, because of what I learned from what Mabry had, going on with going back out at Wisconsin, and I've said it a couple times already. It's more of just the. It's more of just the what goes on between the ears, and that's what I've heard about Mabry when he was at Wisconsin in fall camp. So I personally think Locke is the guy to go to, but I agree with you as well, trying to go out and see what give Bailey an opportunity. And I think, and if you are going to play Locke, I think it's a good opportunity to just like get some film on him to evaluate him. It's one thing to have film in practice. It's one way to get him going in a real game to get him ready for next year. Because I don't think he's, knock on wood, somebody for whoever, knock on wood for me, somebody, but I just don't see him transferring because he, I mean, look, he could have followed Longo somewhere. He could have went somewhere else and not followed Longo to Sam Houston. So that's just all. That's just what I'm gonna, get at. That's what I'm gonna say right there. So if Watson can't go, that's just what.
well,
I'm
it's not
saying.
like Wisconsin has recruited the best quarterbacks over the last few years. I mean, let's
No,
be real.
no. I mean, they did get Billy Edwards Jr., who is pretty decent, but he got done for the year because he's hurt. And well, Wisconsin has not really fared off, to say the least, at this time.
No, they're awful.
Yeah, they all are awful, but yeah, that's kind of where I am.
Oh, and another thing. Let's chill out, Longo, with the Mac Brown. I came in with Mac. Yeah, Mac Brown is an absolute legend. Dude's a national champion in Texas, and he was at North Carolina before that and was a winner. So let's not. I mean, I know you said that he helped rebuild North Carolina. And okay, 5 games. They won 5 games in 2 years. But what they do before that, Colin? I mean, it was 5, 6 years of straight up, very consistent, 8, 7, 8, 11 wins. Let's not act like we were rebuilding the UMass or something out there. I mean, seriously.
By the way, UMass is a much worse football program right now than Sam Houston. I'll say that, and we're seeing it right now live in Maction right now.
live on TV.
Yeah, for real. But anyway, that's where I kind of want to put the football talk to rest for now. I've said what I wanted to say, and we'll see. We'll see how they do this week against Oregon State. We'll see what the quarterback situation is like. Let's see if they can get some guys back from injury. He did talk about Jameer Diaz. Luke, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they just need to shelve him for the year and just put a red shirt on him because I just don't see him coming back, especially from an ankle injury. If he hasn't gotten back from that injury now, Luke, I just don't anticipate him coming back for the rest of the year. I would just go ahead and just redshirt him, and it's unfortunate, Luke, that we have to ask this question for any player at all these days. I just hope he stays. That's kind of what I'm saying for every player. Hope he
He
stays.
ain't gonna stay.
We'll
There's no way
see.
he stays.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Never know, because we thought many other guys were gonna leave, especially after 2023. But we'll see. We will see. All right, let's go ahead and switch the script a little bit. Let's go ahead and talk about some hoops. Sam Houston men's and women's got going on Monday. One side, kind of what you expected. The other side, just not what you want to see to begin the year. We'll talk about that next here on Sam Houston Sports Talks. Keep it right here. Welcome back to Sam Houston Sports Talk. Calling you Luke Scott. Once again, if you haven't already, be sure you like, subscribe today. Follow us on all of our social media outlets. Blah, 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 whatever. I don't care, because you know why? It's hoop season, baby. College basketball is back. You know it, and I know it. Luke, I know you personally enjoy this time of year.
Colin, it is the best. And everyone kind of, daylight savings, the sun goes down earlier and it's dark outside. But Colin, there is nothing better than a bowl of Frito pie with chips, nice cold beer. It's cold outside and you got college basketball on and you're just watching some hoops. It's unlike anything else, really. I mean, I'm sitting here and I got the TV going also. I got Duke and Texas going on. Of course, I'm a Duke guy, but it is fun. It's the best time of year. College basketball is just so much fun. It's the sport that we both just get fired up for. And like football is king, of course, but basketball has college hoops, which has such a soft spot for both of us. And it's good to see it finally getting kicked off with a couple of wins.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. But let's go ahead and by the way, yes, for those that do follow me on my personal accounts, you damn right I woke up at 6:30 a.m. Central Time in the morning to watch the first ever college basketball game. You know I did, Luke. You know I had to do it. I had to watch Queens versus Winthrop. I had to watch it. No doubt. No doubt.
Did Winthrop win?
Winthrop won 81-74. And that was part of the field of 68 rather, opening day marathon, which was kind of fun. I mean, the first half of Bradley and St. Bonaventure, the camera work was very shoddy, but I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fun. Saw D2 upset Hawaii Pacific College, I believe it was called, or Pacific College or whatever it was, beat Boise State. Wild. I mean, anarchy? Nope, just college basketball. Let's go ahead, though, and dive into women's basketball first. They opened up the opening day doubleheader at Johnson Coliseum, debuting the new benches and all that. DJ, fun stuff. They faced Southwestern Christian Eagles, NAIA, part of the SAC conference. It was a win, however, 58-39. Luke, for a Conference USA program, for a team that's returning a lot, I'm pretty heavily disappointed with this result. And
Not great.
And I know,
Southwestern Christian. Who knows where that is?
I know that,
but
it's Bethany, Oklahoma. I know it's the beginning of the season, Luke. Just real quick, but you just cannot be. This is not. This isn't the way. The Mandalorian. This isn't the way.
I wasn't really able to watch the game due to it's just the time and work and prior stuff like going on right now. It's just not the best time for me. But Colin, when I'm looking down and I'm watching kind of the score and keeping up with it, and it's a 3-point game in the first quarter against Southwestern Christian University, School of the Blind, School of the Deaf.
Oh man, come
And
on.
you've only scored 8 points, Colin, in the first. That's bad. But it's the same story as last year, and it kind of reared its head again. Colin, this team cannot shoot the ball at all. The free throws, 15 for 23. Okay, that's You can live with that at
14.
65%.
No.
But
Scroll
Colin,
down. Scroll
two
down. It's 14. You're reading the wrong one. 14-29 actually. So you're not far off, but
14 for 29. Sorry, 14 for 29. 48 for Colin. 2 for 15 from 3. Dude,
Yeah.
at some point, remember last year we talked about, Colin, at some point, you got to quit shooting that 3 ball and just go to the paint. They might be getting that talking to here pretty soon, Colin. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. First game, jitters and whatnot. It is an NAI school, but you got to realize this roster is largely made up of JUCO and NAI transfers and Division II transfers and SWAC transfer. You know, not to downplay all those conferences and divisions, but damn.
Yeah. Nyland Inman with 13 points, 11 rebounds, a steal. Esther Rodaler got 11 points, 4 rebounds. Let's see. Deborah Ogayemi, 10 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double, 6 points, 12 rebounds for Asia Ward Strong. Fontacone with 3 points, but got into foul trouble early. Whitney Dunn fouled out, 5 points. Lots of fouls in this game, Luke. 22 fouls, 23 fouls for Southwest Christian, but 22 fouls on Sam Houston. That's not what you want to see. 23 turnovers. I mean, you force Southwest Christian to commit 36 turnovers, which it's the identity of Coach Justice's, teams. Just identity wise, they're going to be very intense. They will outrun most of their opponents. But Luke, at the end of the day, 26.9% from the floor. The one aspect I just really cannot stop ignoring is 48.3% from the line. Like that is just abysmal. You cannot, and I repeat, not be shooting from the line like that. And I'm not trying to downplay Western Christian rather. Listen, Luke, they came to play. They took the lead at a couple points during that second quarter. It was only, Luke, a 1-point deficit going into halftime. At the end of the day, Luke, this is a team that Sam Houston should have beaten by at least 30. They beat him by 19, and it was a 1-point game going into halftime. This is just not the
You should
best.
never be down to this team. You should never be down to this. Unless it's the first basket of the game, you should not be down against Southwestern Christian. I mean, give me a break. And remember, a couple years ago, Colin, remember there was a loss early in the year and got put to an exhibition game.
It doesn't count.
I know we interviewed Coach. I know we interviewed Coach, or you interviewed Coach Justice from the program, but yeah, not good. And the amount of turnovers, Colin, in this game. I know you mentioned the 36 there of Southwestern Christian, but Colin, 23 turnovers, really? I mean, I don't care who you are, that's embarrassing. If you're going to turn over the ball 23 times a game and you're only going to shoot 48, if you're going to shoot below 50% from the free throw line, it's going to be a lot of L's coming up in the conference season. I'll guarantee you that. I mean, you're just not going to win a game doing that.
Yeah, it's just tough. That's just not what you want. Hopefully that's just a very large blemish that they can rub off easily. It does, but they will be on the road to go to Fort Worth. They'll be taking on number 17 TCU, coming off of a nice run in March last year for them. It's and then they go to Arkansas Pine Bluff November 12th, and then before they come back home for a 3-game stretch at home again in Johnson Coliseum against Prairie View, ULM, and North American. Go Stallions. But let's go ahead and switch gears to the men's side. They were, at times it looked very interesting, but lots of guys. The starting 5, of course: Damon Nicholas Jr., Pole Boy King, Velko Illich, Kashi Nat, Justin Begg. And it didn't look pretty. It was a 40-30 game going into halftime, which, okay, but as with a lot of these games, Luke, of course, a team like Sam Houston's going to pull away at the end of the game. They end up winning 95-59, a 36-point win, rather. Almost scored as many points in the second half as LeTourneau did the whole game. The Sam Houston scored 55 points in the second half. which is good. He had some results, some good statistical results to look forward to. And the 3-pointers do need to get better. 6 of 27, 22.2%. That needs to get better. Just about not a good shooting night. I mean, yeah, Paul Boy King go 1 for 6 from 3. Justin Beck went 0 for 5. Jacoby Coleman, freshman, 1 for 5. I think that could get better. I mean but I'm going to keep an eye on that. But the part of the game where I'm excited about that looks really good is the free throw shooting. 21 to 25, 84%. I believe if they can stay above that 80% line for the year, I think they'll win a lot more games than they did last year. But of course, it's one game. Cannot let it define a whole season. Damon Nicholas Jr. in his return and all that good stuff. We'll get more into that in a second, especially with Damon Nicholas Jr. returning. But here is head coach Chris Mudge, his thoughts on the win versus LeTourneau.
You know, we looked like a team that is young and inexperienced, and that's okay, because they're only going to gain that by game minutes. And you could see there were stretches where we were playing to our identity, and during those stretches, we have some talent and we have some skill and some athleticism, and then we go through stretches where we don't, and so that's where our growth needs to be. And in the second half, we were more consistent, we were more disciplined, we were doing the things that make us us. And so I thought it was a good growing game for us, and I thought you saw our guys get better and more comfortable as we go, and had more guys giving contributions. And I think that this team, part of what we're going to have to do is have multiple guys that give contributions. This night it could be this guy, this night it could be that guy, and we have to share the ball at a high level to be able to make that happen. So I thought we showed some growth, and we're going to have a lot of film to get better from, and I think that's a good thing. This team just needs to learn and get better. That's all they got to do.
Luke, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think there was a lot to take away from this game. It was nice seeing Damon Nicholas Jr. kind of back on the court. He was kind of a guy that we thought last year was going to play a huge role, and ended up was injured and was pretty much sidelined for most of the entire year. And he had an instant impact in the game. I mean, he had a quick 6 or 8 points, kind of right off the bat, playing both ways like he always has, and finishing at the rim. That was always good to see. And I think at times there were some bright spots, but like you said, Colin, the free throw percentage. I mean, there was a long time there for the Hooten era. It was, the free throws were just an absolute disaster for us. And Coach Mudge, it's quickly, kind of turned around, and I think he's made, a large emphasis on not only getting to the line, but also, finishing at the line. And I think up and down the team, up and down the entire score sheet, very consistent from everyone at the line. And I don't know, there was a lot of, I know it's like against LeTourneau, but the team just looked quick. They looked willing and wanted to play defense, and really got up and really into LeTourneau and forced the issue to him. Illich looked pretty good. Big man down low in his first game with Sam Houston. Cashinat was also a guy that I thought really stood out, Colin. A guy that just kind of looked like he was everywhere. Not necessarily the guy that you're going to have, maybe go for 25 a night or whatever, but the athlete, kind of the guy that we thought was going to come into this year, that was praised about as a small school guy in Louisiana. He looks to be that type of player that every team needs. And so very, very pleased with how the team responded out of that second half and really took control of the game.
You mentioned him earlier, Damon Nicholas Jr. making his return in a Bearkat uniform. Here was Mudge on his return, what he thought about his performance.
He was great, man. He started us off really well. His energy and his juice to begin the game was huge, and we needed every bit of that. So it was great to have him, and he just does winning things, and looking for him just to keep growing.
Sweet, short and sweet, Luke. Short and sweet. And 6 quick points off the bat for Nicholas Jr. to begin the game. I thought it was very poetic that he was responsible for the first points rather of the new season. But man, Luke, he was quick, he was shifty. And, I mean, you can't really see on TV for how quick and shifty he was. Just a lot of the moves that he made down low in the block, driving to the basket. And I am just so happy and excited to have him back because this is a guy, Luke, that I keep saying it, and I'm gonna repeat it one more time. We just men's the men's basketball just missed his presence last year.
He did, and the best way you can put it is how Coach Mudge said, making winning plays. I mean, this is a dude that's won everywhere he's went, right? In high school, select ball, or I mean AAU, and then you look at what he's done at Sam Houston. I mean, the dude is just the consummate professional of kind of what you want in a college basketball player. He does everything that you ask of him. He doesn't seem like the type of guy to complain about anything, and he's willing and able to uh, kind of do whatever needs to be done. And it looks like his role is going to be kind of what we thought it was going to be going into last year, but it's going to be what this year is. He's going to have to be the leader, I think, of this team, and be, of course, the number one guy on defense or number two guy on defense, and be willing to drive the ball, kick it out, finish at the rim, occasionally have to spread the floor and shoot the three ball. And it looks like that's exactly what that was kind of the plan going into this game. And um, he played great. Not to just mention Nicholas, but I also thought Jacoby Coleman, off the bench looked really good. And I know he's just a freshman, and who knows of what his uh, workload is going to really be like. But it seemed like Coach Mudge, he got him out there as quick as he could, kind of off the bench, and wanted to see what he had with him. So I think the best thing you could talk about, the most like the best word for this roster you could say would be intriguing. I mean, there's a lot of experienced guys and a lot of freshmen that's going to be playing um, all over, and I know it's against LeTourneau, but a lot to be really happy and excited about.
The minutes part was interesting. You kind of mentioned that a little earlier. We'll get to. I'll play two separate clips here. 11 guys saw the floor against LeTourneau, Luke, and all of them saw at least double-digit minutes. And I know this is it's kind of typically what you could see in an exhibition, not an exhibition. I mean, this was kind of a one way to look at these games.
It's an exhibition. It's an
The
exhibition.
one thing you look at these games, folks, yeah, it counts, and almost every single team in the country is going to play a non-D1 school, no matter who you are, no matter if you're UConn, Purdue, or whatsoever. These games are basically glorified exhibitions that count towards the regular season record. But at the end of the day, a lot of guys saw everyone I saw the floor saw a lot of minutes, especially the freshmen. I'll play this clip first about the minutes, and then more specifically in the next clip it's gonna be about the freshmen. So here's the first part of like when Mudge was asked about all players that saw the floor getting double-digit minutes. Gosh darn it, I messed up. Sorry, folks. I don't know what the heck that was. I don't know why that freaking gosh dang it.
That's a strike on the record, Colin.
That is a strike on the record, dude. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just play this part of the freshman getting the minutes.
It's good for them because we're going to rely on them. They're important pieces and good players, and every minute they play, you can tell they get a little more comfortable, and that's going to be really good, and it's going to pay off by conference time where it's going to really matter. And so it was awesome to see out there having fun. And one thing I like about a lot of our guys is they really love to hoop, and they play hard, and they play with some passion. And if we do those things, we play at our best.
That was Chris Mudge on the freshman getting minutes, and now here is the minutes overall.
I thought it was good because it just helped all of them get better. Their experience of getting those minutes is gonna pay off for them long term. But I think that's what this team is gonna be. I think we're gonna have lots of guys that get out there because we are gonna play fast and we are gonna pressure and those kind of things. We've got to have a lot of guys who can make a contribution, and I think we got a little closer to that today.
You go right ahead.
Yeah, and going into the season, you're going to see the rotation, drop off a little bit. You're not going to be playing 11, 10, 9. I mean, you might. I think the most that I could see this team playing is maybe 8, 9 guys. I don't think you're going to get into 10 and 11, in the conference season or whatnot. But, I also think like this lineup. Do you think the lineup will change at all, Colin? I mean, barring injury and whatnot. I mean, do you think the starting five is kind of what we're going to see all year, or do you think we're going to see a Jacoby Coleman or Isaiah Manning or Walker to kind of find themselves in that starting five?
I asked that question myself too sometimes, but I think this is the lineup you're going to see, barring any injuries or in whatsoever, or things get
I think
going.
so too.
I really like this lineup. I mean, you go from top to bottom. And I think Justin Begg is going to be someone that is going to be pretty exciting to watch. I mean, I I'm sitting down on courtside, Luke, so I can see everything a little bit better. But man, his facilitating is something. Like the way he can facilitate the ball and find these passing lanes that I didn't think even was even possible, especially on the fast breaks. I think that's going to be huge. He's going to have to get the 3-point shooting down, but again, that's just first game whatsoever. It is what it is. Cashy Nat, intense, dude. He is intense. He is all over the place.
Yeah, he is.
He's gonna be so fun to watch as well. And Po Boy King, he just has to get going. I like his shot, but it's just gonna take some time for him to get going because he was dealing with an injury in the offseason. So we'll see how that goes. Damon Nicholas Jr., that just has to be said right there. And Velko Ilic, or Velchko, I mean, I like to go by I like to go by the native way of saying a person's name. I think it's much more fun and interesting. But Illich is very
He
interesting.
looked really good too.
I mean, I joked a little bit like, hey, he's gonna be like our little Jokic down there, but the Serbian. But I don't know why I said Siberian for a second there. That's a very cold place. But I don't know if you can play basketball out there. But anyway, the he also he could be kind of an underrated passer. I mean, that's of course how those European players are. They want to try to pass the ball as well, no matter what position you are. But I like him a lot too, and I just like and Manning's gonna be an interesting factor coming off the bench. And so are the freshmen, and I think Czech's gonna be asked for more minutes, and I'm surprised that I guess they're really gonna rely on a lot about Matt Dan as well, Luke. And we may not have the size vertically, Luke. I like the size when it comes to the mass.
Talking about the wings, the length of kind of the wings and the guards up top. I'm talking about.
Yeah, like the mass, like everyone just seems like physically built for this league.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Po Boy King is going to be kind of the guy that's going to make us at times, pull the hair out of our heads, and at times he's going to be like this guy needs to just shoot the ball every time we go down the court. I think he's going to be that kind of guy for us. But I really love Cash. I loved watching Cash now play, dude. That dude is just winning plays. It kind of reminds me of a Javion May type
Mm.
guy that I think the scoring side is I think the upside there is much better than Javion's, but a guy that's going to have to be relied on a ton, and another guy that's proved himself in another program and here to make that next step.
And you cut out for a minute there, Luke. You said that that dude is what? Like you cut out at that part where you said
Oh,
that
he's
dude.
kind of a wild card.
Oh, okay.
I think the dude's a wild card out there. Just I mean, I know he's not afraid to shoot the ball. He's not afraid to get downhill and get to the rack. But defensively, I mean, the dude I think can just guard, and he's not necessarily this big, long, 6'7" guy that can just be everywhere. But I just really like the player, dude. I think we got something with him.
Dude, that block that he had in that LeTourneau player. Oh my god. Dude, he like came out of freaking nowhere, and I think his head was at the freaking rim,
Which
dude.
one?
I mean, he had a couple, but the one where he thought he had like a nice easy like shot at the block, and then wham, get over here. Like, just send that away. I thought they were going to call a foul on Nat for that for some reason, but thankfully they didn't. But, man, he's fun. He's going to be fun. Just a couple quick ones. And then I want to get into soccer before we, sign things off. Just here was Coach Mudge on the bleachers and the DJ that they had there.
The environment was awesome tonight. We had a bunch of fans here. We had the DJ here, which was great. I thought it was a really cool crowd, and I loved having them right behind the bench. The student section was phenomenal, so it was cool. I was really glad they did that.
Yeah, the attendance was like 1,400, if I remember correctly, a little somewhere over 1,000, which I believe. And I hope that depending on what happens with Texas Tech and Utah, I'd be really interested to see what that attendance is like for Wyoming. And that's going to be on a Wednesday, so there's going to be a lot of students on campus still. But here, and last thing here from Mudge, here was about getting ready for Tech and Utah, this two road game stretch coming up.
Continuing to get better. The journey is going to be a long one, and obviously with gaining experience, it takes time. And so we got to be able to go to whoever we're going to play against. We got to be able to go be disciplined and play to our style. And it's always exciting to go play some of the best teams in the country. And we get to do that for 2 games in a row. I'm excited about it.
And I'm gonna be, and I'm not saying they're gonna beat Tech. I'm not saying they're gonna beat Utah because those are two tough opponents. But man, if they can at least make it a game against those two teams, I'll be pretty ecstatic.
I agree. We beat Utah a couple years ago, so it's not necessarily like it's a thing that's foreign. Tech will be tough. Tech's gonna be a really good team this year, and obviously, they're ranked. We get that, but I think this team can do a lot this year, and I know it's LeTourneau. I'll say that again. I know it's LeTourneau, but still, I think there's something to this team.
Yeah. Well, I'll wrap up the basketball talk for this one. Before we wrap things up, do want to just cover real quick. Today, Sam Houston women's soccer season just ended, unfortunately, for the girls. Honestly, Luke, a fantastic first season from head coach Kendall Ayers. I mean, it's never easy for a first-year head coach to come in, and especially with a lot of new players. A lot of new players in the sense that, hey, a lot of them stayed, Luke. A lot of them already knew each other. She was able to she retained a coach from the previous administration, and Coach Gregory. Coach Flores I've heard, has been quite an amazing coach as well, assistant coach, and especially with what Ayers had to go through, being pregnant for a majority of the season and giving birth in the middle of the season, which, by the way, if we hadn't already said, congratulations to Ayers and all that, and family, and I wish that she was named Coach of the Year due to like just just the kind of the story. I think it was a great story. They got that first. They won the quarterfinals against Delaware, 78th minute Toro with a great shot just sneaks under the bar, and then gets the goal. 1 in 9 rounds of penalties, which in its case is just so intense. Katie Bond with a couple of saves and even netting one herself, and then Pam Murray finishing it off later on, as of course. And just today, unfortunately, Liberty's just, of course, really good. We all knew they were. First goal, just weird. It was for a potential handball. Reviews awarded a penalty to the Flames. I agree, it was the right call. I just felt like that should have been reviewed a lot sooner than 75 seconds. Even the broadcast acknowledged like that's just not how it worked. How it should have gone. They should have just reviewed it pretty much on the spot, if not really much sooner. At the end of the day, Katie Bond went the right way, and Garner put it into the bottom low corner to the left side in a perfect spot. That's just really hard to save, no matter how good of a goalkeeper you are. It's just the second goal, Luke. That was the backbreaker. I personally, after watching it many, many times and then consulting with other people that are familiar with the game, I just don't. I just felt like that goal shouldn't have happened. Bond literally gets, you know, rolled on trying to recover the ball. And granted, Bond could probably go tell you like I should have handled that cross better and not have that situation happen. At the end of to be honest though, Luke, goalkeepers should be protected because they're one in a million in the sense a great one is one in a million. That's what Bond has been all year, has been great. And I keep watching that, and I just think that a foul should have been called, goal disallowed, should be 1-0, and maybe Sam Houston. I'm not saying that Sam Houston ties it or not, or forces overtime and potential penalties, because I think penalties is where this team had the best chance of winning it against a team like Liberty. At the end of the day, though, the result, the call is the call on the field. All in all, I still think that this season was a success, and I just can't wait for what Ayers brings in the offseason, what she can do and improve upon for this team. And I can't wait for the future, really.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm second everything you said, Colin. I don't think if there's much difference if that's a goal or not a goal. Talking about the second one for Liberty, 1 to 12 shots, 6 on the net for Liberty, none for Sam.
Yeah,
Um,
that was. I
you know,
mean,
I just couldn't really get the ball and dominate for any really long time throughout the game. Liberty, and we knew Liberty going into this game was probably the best team in the conference, and I think they proved it once again going into this and hosting the tournament. But no, it really was a great season, and for kind of what we thought was going to be a tough year for the team, just because we were so high on Carvello's team, and obviously she leaves and Ayers comes in out of nowhere. You're like, okay, well, let's see kind of what happens. It'll be kind of tough in the first year, and she credit to her and credit to this team. The leaders really stepped up. Obviously, you had great goaltending with Bond, and that whole back line was fantastic all throughout the year. And obviously didn't come out victorious, and now season's over. But still, great year, over 500 in conference play. So hard to complain.
yeah, and really only the bad blemish that you had in conference play was that, well, only really two of them. That last second loss to Western Kentucky and that loss against Liberty. But Luke, they could have easily hunkered down after that last second loss to Western Kentucky, but they didn't. They came back stronger and they secured themselves a top 3 finish in the conference standings, which they hadn't had in 11 years. I believe it was since 2014 that they had not finished top 3 in conference. And just fantastic. There's a lot that they need to improve on. I think they really need to improve upon the midfield and the attacking. So especially with the players that they're going to be losing in the off season due to graduation, because they're graduating a lot. So it's going to be some rebuilding that Coach Ayers is going to have to do in the offseason transfer and with the recruits that are coming in. I think back line's going to be just fine. And I think the goalie's going to be just fine too, especially with a solid group I think they really had all year outside of Bond. So we'll see what that happens. But once again, soccer ends, but a successful season in my eyes, nonetheless, for Coach Ayers. That'll do it for us here on Sam Houston Sports Talk. Luke, a very long pod, but you know what? A lot of great stuff to talk about. I'm actually pretty excited to put this episode out for the people to listen to, because I think we talked a lot about, from football all the way to soccer, and you know what? I'm pretty interested to see where this next phase of the 2025-2026 athletic year is going to bring us, especially with football winding down in November, basketball getting in full swing, and then before we know it, Luke, it's going to be Diamond Sports season.
Oh, give me a break, Colin. That's all you, buddy.
Come on, man. Come on, man. You got to be, at least you're the
I got baseball. I watched too much baseball in the MLB. I watched like the last 4 innings of the Game 7 of the World Series, and that was enough for me.
Oh man. Well, hey, listen, glad that whoever listened, watched the whole thing. Really appreciate y'all. And if you haven't already, be sure you like, be sure you subscribe, be sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. Hit 275 subs on YouTube. Let's get to 300, baby. Let's shoot for 300. I want to get to 300. Let's see if we can do that. Share this. Someone that wants to find a place for all their Bearkat talk. For Luke Scott, I'm Colin Neal saying so long for now. And as always, you know what, cats? 2 things. See y'all next time.